Hello, everyone. Today we're going to be going over our OT cyber risk assessment and mitigation strategy for the Royal Duke Infrastructure Group, which supplies critical electricity and industrial water to our data centers across Northern Virginia. Our objective was to identify the highest risk exposures and propose feasible high impact solutions. So let's go ahead and see why this all matters. So the scenario here, Northern Virginia is the largest data center market in the world. So here's some of the key factors that we got to keep in mind is that 24/7 uptime is mandatory. AI growth is on the rise. Utility OT systems were built for reliability. They weren't accountable for cyber defense at the time they were built. OT and IT environments are increasingly interconnected. Service disruption can cascade into multi-million dollar downstream losses here. So that's important to keep in mind. And let's go ahead and let's move on here. So this is the cyber risk at hand here. So, increased remote vendor connectivity, it spans the attack surface. At the same time, IT and OT environments are increasingly interconnected, combined with legacy SCADA and PLC systems that lack built-in security controls. Utilities have become attractive, high-impact targets. So that's about it for this one. Let's examine how these risks materialize. So we got a little chart here. It starts at the internet, then it goes to the vendor portal, the jump host, and then the OT network. So the likelihood of this happening, as you can see here, is very high. The impact would also be very high. So compromise vendor credentials, lateral movement into OT, potential disruption of power or water. Next, we have a little demo here I'm going to play of how you could stop this, like in good security caution here of MFAs and how it works. So, all right, welcome everyone to my demo. We're going to get started here. And this is an example of a website. This is just a demo website, and we're going to sign in, and we're not going to have MFA on this example. So let's use the name johnb@gmail.com here. And we're going to try and sign in, and it's just going to let us. There's no MFA. We're able to see all the content here. Now let's go to a service. I'm going to use my AWS account. This service has really good MFA, so we're going to see here that when we sign in, MFA is going to come up, and I'm not going to do it, and I can't get into the account. So I need multi-factor authentication to get in. So this is why secure remote access is like needed here. So we're going to move on to our next risk here. All right, welcome. Oh, sorry about that. Our next risk, we have another chart here. As you can see, it moves from corporate IT network to the malware introduction, SCADA-HMI systems, operators lose visibility. Attack scenario here. So this is how the attack works. The malware spreads via the IT/OT convergence. Monitoring dashboards become unavailable. Manual operations increase operational risk. So this is a very likely thing that will happen at companies, and this is very likely in our scenario. And the impact of this, it's detrimental, it's high. This could really throw a company off the rails. So this is a major risk we got to be careful of. Let's move to our next risk here. We got risk number 3, which is PLC control logic manipulation. We have PLC control logic going to command is altered here to unsafe physical operation. That's our chart here. And then we have our little words here on the right, that unauthorized modification of PLC login, process thresholds altered beyond safe limits, equipment damage or safety incidents possible. So this is not as likely as the other two because it's more technical. It kind of takes a lot of like hacker skills, and not a lot of people know how to do all this. it's a lot harder to do. So the likelihood is a medium here. The impact of this is really high though. So, this is very detrimental if this happens. So we just done with our risks here. Let's move on to the prioritization of these risks. So like this is our little map here. It's all just basically what we had on the other slides. I'm not going to spend too much time on here, but see it all charted out here. Now let's go on to our solutions. This is what I was looking for. Our solutions and risk reduction here. So we have operation technology, asset visibility, inventory, and map OT devices to reduce unknown exposure. The cost of this would be low to medium. Benefit would be really high. Secure remote access, that's what we did in the demo. The MFAs, as you can see, cost is medium. The benefit's really high. We have passive OT monitoring, detect abnormal ICS activity without operational disruption. Cost medium, benefit high. OT incident response, the cost of this would be low and the benefit would be medium. All right, transitioning here, we have an implementation roadmap of how long this would take. So short term, 0 to 90 days, enforce MFA. That's really easy to do. Develop OT incident playbooks, OT assess inventory, deploy passive OT monitoring, integrate alerts into SOC, conduct tabletop exercises. Then our long-term stuff would be mature network segmentation, risk-based vulnerability management, continuous OT risk assessments. So that's our long term. These things are going to take a little longer, but the short term stuff, very easy to implement. MFA, we did a demo on that. It took a minute max. Like this, I mean, it takes a little bit to set up, but like once it's set up, it's very easy to use and it's not going to be hard for to set up, but it's really productive and can save you a lot of money and time. Well, we want to thank y'all for tuning in here. These are references of where we got everything from, but that is pretty much it with how we handle this situation. Thank you guys all for tuning in.